And if it was 100% cash, the government wouldn't have any control of that. But because we're online and we're doing it through credit cards, the government has exactly what it wants. What up?
Money!
Nice. I like money.
Well, I figure since we're talking about money today, we could come to the global capital of money. This is New York City, and welcome to Central Park.
And so exactly how are we going to get these chairs back to my field?
I'll get an Uber.
An Uber? Okay.
Yeah,
$19?
I don't think we're gonna need that because Ubers don't take cash.
So this is exactly what I left that voicemail on your phone for.
And you have to stop calling me late at night, leaving voicemails about interest rates and hormones. Like, look, we can get into all this stuff later.
I'm going to keep calling you.
Okay, today we're talking about cash, or rather the lack thereof. People don't need cash. They don't use cash anymore. They don't want cash. You know, the millennials have spoken. They don't want to carry around wads and wads of cash. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
So really, I think we're in some serious trouble with this whole money thing and the trend towards a cashless society.
Do tell.
YouTubers know Manward. We're all about liberty, know-how, and connections. And this really ties into all three, but nothing is more connected to our money than liberty. And a lot of folks in America and across the world are trading their liberty for convenience. And we're seeing it all across this trend.
I mean, that's true. And look, I act like devil's advocate often on the show, mostly to bother you, but also because I think I'm trying to represent, our viewership. A lot of people want the convenience presented by not having to carry around cash. Think about the fact that we're sitting here right now in New York. I got up yesterday in Maryland. I got on the train. I took the subway. I ate. And I didn't really have to pull out my wallet at any point. I was just touch and pay the whole way.
Yeah, the government, your wife, whoever, knows exactly where you were, what you were spending, where you were spending it, how much you spent, and that's great. I mean, most of the time that's not bad until it isn't. Not to go on a rant here about the government, but
No, you wouldn't
I would
do
never
that.
do that. Prime Minister Modi came out late in the night, I think it was 10:45 at night, right? He gets on stage in front of cameras and says, as soon as this speech is over, the 500 and 1,000 rupee bills will be obsolete. You'll have to go to the bank, cash them in, and get new ones. So the reason he did that was to get them out of the black market. Suddenly the value of the currency was changed.
The whole experiment backfired.
Yeah, I mean, their stock market, their economy, all had major problems. But think how much easier that could have been done if their economy was cashless. And that's where America's heading, is this age where, the Federal Reserve, the president, whoever, our debt is too big, so everybody's using online currency. We flip a switch, and now there's an extra decimal point or an extra zero.
Right, and when you make it illegal for people to handle or use cash, you're taking away their buying power. So say I am a tinfoil hat wearer who's got a bunch of money saved under the mattress, and I've got it there for a rainy day. Well, all of a sudden, that cash becomes valueless.
But you don't have to be a tinfoil hat wearing person. Think about it. It's the gun control debate. We don't want to get into that. But under Obama's reign, they tried a lot of gun control measures. Nothing worked. Congress wouldn't pass it. So kind of a backdoor way into that is our currency and our electronic processing. Obama, very, very controversial, launched Operation Choke Point, which just blasted all the fun stuff: guns, porn, booze. The government couldn't say, Andy, you can't go out there and buy a gun. But the credit card processors all of a sudden became liable for those sorts of transactions.
We don't want to support these types of transactions anymore.
Exactly.
So if you're the kind of person who actually is, a law-abiding citizen who took the steps, took the courses, and is able to be a responsible gun owner, sorry, we don't feel comfortable selling that to you.
Exactly.
Or accepting payment for that.
Exactly. So they shut a lot of that down. Even in our industry, in our world, we ran into it with the CBD cream that we launched.
Yes.
Working with credit card processors with that. Fully legal, 100% legal product, but because of Operation Choke Point, which has, thank goodness, been disbanded, but the remnants of it, and there's other laws related to it now, that these credit card processors are liable for so much of this, and it gives the government control. So
right, and they're liable for the product, which makes them adverse. They're worried about the risk. Their risk tolerance is super low. because they're accepting payment for something that's not theirs.
And
So for us, somebody who is like responsibly sourcing the ingredients to our product and doing everything on the up and up, doing
100%
independent
legal.
testing for a totally legal product, we still couldn't accept payment.
And if it was 100% cash, the government wouldn't have any control of that. But because we're online and we're doing it through credit cards, the government has exactly what it wants. That's where the dangerous side of cash comes in. So we always talk about the slippery slope in Manward. It's, right now we're talking about marijuana and CBD, kind of these fringy things. But what's next? We talk about the Federal Reserve. Janet Yellen, my girlfriend, and Jay Powell now.
I thought you guys broke up.
She's not returning my calls, but
Neither am I.
Yeah, apparently you aren't either. I call her about interest rates, but anyways, it costs a lot of money to print money. And here in the United States, we're spending about $1 billion a year just printing dollar bills, $100 bills, coinage, that sort of thing. It takes 5 cents just to print a dollar bill. So imagine how much we're spending, and the huge industry that's related to that. And if we simply went cashless, the Federal Reserve would save $1 billion a year. They'd gain a ton more control, and so it's a great win for the government.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, it's not just governments that are throttling money. The cruise ship industry is that's a good example.
Yeah,
Talk about that.
So the cruise ships, Vegas. So if you go on a cruise ship, what do they tell you to do? Put your money in the vault, strap this thing on your wrist, or take this card and use our money. They have their little card as currency that you can spend anywhere. You go to the bar, you go to a restaurant, just swipe that thing. So again, not only is it more convenient for you to spend money on their cruise ship, but they can track you. And the really interesting thing the cruise ships are doing, and we see it in Vegas and those sorts of places as well, is they can control their suppliers, who you're going to.
And so, I mean, businesses that they don't play by the rules, they decide they don't accept wristbands, they're losing out on millions of dollars in revenue, from these cruise companies who are basically going to blacklist them, as not playing ball.
Yeah, and if the cruise ship doesn't like what the jewelry store or the souvenir shop is doing, they're popping smoke and they're out of there. And they have total control over what that business is doing. So that's why big businesses like it. That's why the government likes it. It's a control move.
You have the push away from physical cash, and people are definitely, like we said at the very top, they're intrigued by the convenience of it, not necessarily what it does for liberty. Which is why you've seen, this rise in digital currencies like Bitcoin and even Facebook has a crypto now.
So they're getting to it, and so there's folks out there, the crypto crowd absolutely gets the freedom side of it, but the government doesn't like that competition. And big business sort of in the middle. So with Facebook and their Libra, they're doing it. I mean, it's a genius move for Facebook, and the government is just squashing it. Trump was out. The ECB, the European Central Bank, has kind of disavowed the idea.
Well, and they called Zuckerberg and the entire team into, once again for a hearing to be like, we don't understand. What are you doing now?
Yeah, they don't understand what Facebook is, let alone Facebook's form of money. But again, it's control. So we know Facebook captures a ton of data. So now here's their chance to work with banks, capture that data, and really have complete control over what we're doing, how we're spending our money, and what it all means. So it could be really good if it was done well. The government's going to come in there and say, no way, we don't want this competition. We can't control that. We don't want the free market doing it.
Well, and you look at what they're trying to do, and you look at the support that they have. So look at who's supporting Libra. It's not just Facebook. You have MasterCard, you have Visa, you have PayPal, eBay.
Banks.
Like anybody who stands to gain from accepting more and more money from a customer, or from being able to charge interest to a certain customer, they're like, we're on board with Libra. Like, we're happy to help this new payment method take off. It's the cruise ship of the financial world.
I think that's a great way of looking at it. Is it gives them control and allows them to control who's spending the money, what they're doing with it, and ultimately control the economy.
But I mean, let's talk about interest rates for a second. You always compare them to the hormones of the economy.
Yeah.
Explain that concept.
So I mean, that's important. It's vital to understand this. This is where know-how and how it relates to money is really important. So interest rates are the hormones of the economy. So what do hormones do in our body? They regulate everything. The more we have of some, the less we have of others, controls what we're doing and how it works. So that's what interest rates are. It's really simple. The higher interest rates are, kind of that slows down. That's the throttle. It's pulling down on the hormone levels. And then the lower interest rates are, it's like an adrenaline shot, an EpiPen to the thigh gets
Yeah.
things really going. So as negative interest rates come in, that's kind of a really kind of juicing the economy, trying to get things going. So it's vital to understand how that ripples through, you know, how that goes through our system and what that does to the economy. And
Well, right now the economy looks like it's going through andropause or menopause because we've like brought down interest rates lower and lower and lower.
the body is the economic body is all messed up because of these artificial hormones that we've put in there, and that's where why we have to go towards this cashless trend, because our physical money won't work anymore in this artificial world that, you know, into negative interest rates. That's crazy. That we've never seen something like that before in history, and it's crazy. It's going to have big ramifications, you know, for everything, liberty, know-how, and connections, and especially that liberty side.
But I mean, you know, the question is, what do people do? We threw a lot out there. What do people do?
Yeah, it's easy. Use cash, right? So pound that like button, subscribe, leave comments below.
No. Hang on. You don't wrap things up. I wrap things up. That's like the only thing I do in this chair. Really, like people can't just. It's not just as simple as like saying use cash. Like done, we're done. What really do people need to take away from this, and what can they do?
Yeah, so that's a
yes,
fair
they
question.
should use cash, but then, you know, elaborate.
Fair question, that's okay. So, you know, of course, use your credit cards, we're gonna have to, but try to use cash when you can. Go to the ATM once a week, twice a week, and get out a portion of cash and keep that. Use that as a budget, whatever. But another way is to go to the store. We've all seen these at the grocery store, those prepaid cards, right? Go buy one of those, put $200 worth of cash on it, use cash to pay for it. Then you have an anonymous prepaid card that you can use online to buy stuff from Amazon, whatever, and you're kind of going around the system, and then that's not trackable. And the more people that do that, the slower this trend is going to happen. I don't know if it's inevitable at this point or not, but I think if we push back, we can certainly slow it down. And the key thing is just to understand how fast it's evolved and what's happening with it.
The point of all of this is not to scare you. You know, it's just to give you a different way of thinking. You know, that's what this whole channel is about. That's what this whole show is about, is know-how. You know, we want you to think critically and do your own research. And best believe we are going to be talking about this again in the future. So thanks for paying attention to our thoughts on money.
Cheers to that. Use cash.
Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something in the video today. We appreciate you watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, help us grow, and you know, go ahead and you can Venmo me at Alex